I would throw Ferrari in there, and I think they will be as quick, very close to being as quick at the start of the season. Mercedes maybe a little bit catching up, but I think Mercedes is going to be very strong this year.
We've had all the cars launched now. What's your favourite livery this year and why?
Why are you giving me the microphone on this one? I do like the all-black Mercedes. I think it makes an awful lot of sense on many fronts, to be honest. Even though they've actually painted some of it, they could have just left it all carbon fibre. That would have made more sense. But I like that all-black livery. It stands out. So when we're in the commentary box, anything that stands out is good. In fact, Alpine, if they want to keep the pink livery, I don't like it very much, but keep it, because anything that is easy to identify, we like.
It's good for us.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about carbon fibre lately, but the reason why they've probably painted parts is because carbon fibre looks beautiful on a flat surface. As soon as you get to a corner, it's not so pretty.
Yeah.
So that's probably why. And they still want it to
Very
look
similar to races then, really, isn't it? Straights, perfect, corners,
more
carnage.
difficult. So yeah, I do like it. The Ferrari, I have to say, that colour on the Ferrari looks lovely. I mean, there's always been red, but they've gone for a real nice deep red, and it looks lovely. And I have to say, the Williams looks nice. They started the design of the Williams mid last year. Around the car. Yeah. So no, it looks really. I didn't know they had a designer for the livery in F1. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's a big thing. The only trouble with the Williams is the orange bit at the top. It doesn't really go with the blue.
Duracell. I actually really like it. It's really tacky, but it's quite quirky. Like, it does stand out. Like, you're going to see it and you'll know immediately that
I know it's a partner, and I know they bring money, and that's a good thing. But you wouldn't wear an outfit that was blue and orange, would you? The debonair Jenson Button.
It's gold.
Orange.
It's gold.
Gold.
Okay.
It's rust.
It's gold, isn't
I will move you on from that until before you have an argument. So, championship contenders. Of course, we've got the big three. Do you think we're going to see Red Bull with the same domination as we had over the past 2 years? Or do you think, A, Mercedes will fight back, or B, Ferrari, should they sort out their strategy, are in with a chance?
Or C. Yes and no. That covers all the bases, doesn't it?
That's good, yeah.
That's good. I think Red Bull will start off as the fastest car at the start of the season, but I do think it's unlikely that they'll be able to carry on that dominance given their reduction in wind tunnel time for being champions and also the penalty as well. Fair?
That's a good answer. Very good. I concur.
Excellent.
I would say that I would throw Ferrari in there, and I think they will be as quick, very close to being as quick at the start of the season. Mercedes maybe a little bit catching up, but I think Mercedes is going to be very strong this year.
What sort of a team boss is Freddie Vasseur going to be, though?
Very calm. He's been and done it for so many years, and I think that's what's great in the team. And the strategy has obviously been their weakness. We all know how important strategy is, and James Vowles had 35 people, I think, below him doing strategy in Mercedes. So, yeah, hopefully they've solved those issues. I think he will know what to do.
I mean, I think even looking at that regardless, like you say kind of Ferrari 2022 and automatically you think, oh, God, strategist. But actually, Charles did still place second.
Yeah, and I think you would say that their weakness was strategy, and we all jump on that, but it was also their consistency wasn't really there. They dropped off, didn't they? Mercedes improved, Ferrari dropped away, and Red Bull just stayed there.
I mean, hopefully no porpoising for anyone.
Yeah, maybe Ferrari went too early with Freddie Vasseur. Maybe they should have got James Vowles to be their team principal.
We stole him.
Yeah, Williams are
going.
And I think, honestly, he's a real left field choice, but a really good choice as well. James will go in and will listen to the engineering department, not be afraid to make the right decisions, but will listen to the people, but will also have a handle on the strategic side, on the sporting side, and will give a great insight. To me, is exactly what Williams did.
I agree, and because he had so many people working underneath him on strategy, he kind of left them alone a bit, and he spent a lot of time with Toto, so he understands the management needed within a team and people managing and keeping people positive. So yeah, I think he's a great choice for Williams.
Nice. So kind of like moving sort of down the grid, who would you say is probably like your underdog of this season? Who do you think might kind of surprise, take some podiums away from the big three?
I spent some time at Silverstone on launch day, and the difference between Aston Martin 2023 and Aston Martin 2022 was so contrasting. There is a quiet optimism, but also a smile of realisation that they've done the groundwork properly for this year's car. Now it might get onto the track and it might bounce away, but I'm told from the the rollout day that things were looking good on track as well. They are the team I expect to make significant strides this season.
And obviously Alonso moving over as well.
Yeah, and Fernando will be a great motivator. You talk about Fernando.
Yeah, I think the Aston Martin launch was the best because of what Fernando said about his previous teams. I thought it was hilarious. My previous teams, they were kind of happy finishing fourth in the constructors, whereas I know Aston, they want to win.
Which translates
Dig.
as, I want to win, get going,
Yeah.
But I thought Lawrence, the way Lawrence was saying, I'm passionate about this project, and when I get passionate, I win. Mm-hmm. And there is a plan to be champions one day, and it won't happen overnight, but they've made the investment and they've brought the right people in. Their technical team are working very well together, and they're starting from a position of 7th on count back last year. To me, they can easily finish 4th this year and bag a couple of podiums in the process.
The problem is, all of the cars look great. Yeah. When you see the launches, nothing looks weird. Everything looks good. They've all made a massive improvement from last year in terms of tweaking it in a certain way. They're all starting to look a bit like each other, which is always the way. Yep. Hopefully the field's just going to be a lot closer this year.
Which one would you want to drive, if you could?
You always want to drive the quickest one.
Yeah, which one's that?
And I think
I think we'll wait and see in Bahrain.
Yeah, I think with Ferrari, it's always that thing for a driver, isn't it? To
Seb said everyone's a Ferrari fan.
Well, if it's winning, if not, I wouldn't want to be in a Ferrari. It's always the car that's at the front winning. It gives you the opportunity to win. Otherwise, what's the point?
So out there, yours instead of mine.
Yeah.
Perfect. So obviously we've got 3 rookies coming in. We've got De Vries, Sargent and Piastri. Who do you think is going to kind of come out on top with them? Obviously, we've already seen De Vries on the track do incredibly well. I mean, his first instance in Formula One, he placed in the points, which is, perhaps...
And his arms fell off as well.
Yeah. So out of those 3, who are you kind of most excited to see on the track?
That's a great question. Look, Nick De Vries, I hate to call Nick De Vries a rookie because he's old enough to be... He's old enough to be a multiple world champion, given the way F1's going. But I think Nick is a vastly experienced driver. Whether he's got a great car under him, I'm not sure. I think Logan Sargent is quick and really rapid and will benefit from the advice of those around him that will be telling him how to be consistent and quick. Wendy Jenson. And Oscar Piastri could be absolutely the real deal and has a record in the junior formula that puts him right at the top of the charts.
Do you think possibly not a little bit of kind of like headbutting between him and Lando though, possibly, if they're both kind of fighting to be top dog?
Definitely, because he's still young, but he's the more experienced guy in the team now. But everyone knows how good Lando is. So for Piastri, it's kind of a benefit, I guess, because if he does get beaten by Lando, everyone's going to say, well, Lando's so good. It doesn't, he'll get there in the end. But Piastri wants to come in and be strong from the word go. For me, I think with Logan, it's interesting. I think he's very quick. I think the stress that he had to get into Formula One was through the roof. I mean, I watched him in Abu Dhabi and wow. He wasn't taking it well. But I think he's learned so much from that. He understands what to do. There's no real pressure on him the first few races. We've talked about it, actually. He's just got to enjoy himself and just be a sponge, just pick up everything he can. And as you said, Nick De Vries, he's definitely not a youngster anymore. In a good way, he's got so much experience. And I think him coming into the sport, he'll pick it up quicker than anyone. He understands what he has to do as a driver out of the car as well as in.
Isn't it a great thing about Formula One, though, that we've talked about Lando as the young, inexperienced rookie? Hasn't he done well? Second season, hasn't he done really well? Third season, he's carried that team. Fourth season, he's under pressure from the rookie now, isn't he? How things have changed a lot for Lando Norris, who could be going into this season, if all had been well, he'd still be teammates with Daniel Ricciardo and he's benchmarking against an 8-time Grand Prix winner. Now, it's like, don't get beaten by the rookie.
Yeah, 4 years in, how it changes.
Things
but
change
do you think
so
maybe
fast.
that'll actually, because I think Lando has been a little bit tentative at times when it comes to fighting the bigger dogs, shall we say? On occasion, not all the time. Do you think maybe this will give him a bit of a kick?
I don't agree. I think he's been very aggressive, personally. I think he's quite aggressive. Austria comes to mind.
But just not as aggressive as Max.
Yeah,
I
but
know
he's in a
nobody is.
different
Nobody is. And when you have a better car, it's always easier to be aggressive. No, I'm really excited for that fight. That in a team battle is going to be a big one, I think.
Yeah.
On that note, are there any kind of driver pairings that you're not too sure of for this season?
No, I think eyebrows were raised when Haas brought Nico Hülkenberg back into the sport, and you questioned his motivation. But I think if you look at the way he's wintered and the way he's thrown himself into the training, thrown himself into being a Haas driver, you could say, what do the team need? They needed consistency. They needed the best driver out there who could give them consistency, and Nico Hülkenberg is that driver. And Nico Hülkenberg, who was just a reserve driver, who wasn't really, as fit as he should have been when he replaced Seb for the first couple of races last year. That's not what you want, but the fully motivated Nico Hülkenberg, not a problem.
I think the great thing is we have 5 teams with different driver lineups this year. So it's always interesting to see that in a team battle, because some drivers work in certain teams of that style of car and don't work in others, as we saw with Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that. 2 French drivers.
Oh yeah, I was going to say I am very, very excited for Alpine. We all know, well, Pierre has certainly had his moments of frustration, and I'm really excited to see the 2 French boys.
And I think this is a key year for Esteban Ocon. Who had his moments with Sergio Perez that he'll look back one day and think, I was a bit over the top there. Had his moments with Fernando Alonso where he might think, I was a bit over the top there. Can ill afford to do that with a third teammate because it starts to become a bit...
And he's also French.
Yeah, like it's your fault, mate, which it isn't. And Esteban is a terrific human being, but he doesn't like to concede to anyone, especially not his teammate. They need to get on at Alpine because it's so close in that midfield. Any points that get squandered can cost you a huge amount at the end of the year.
I remember when we're commentating in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen a teammate. Well, I have once. Checo Perez with me. But, the blocking was insane. I mean, amazing. But there was a lot of aggression there, and the team just sat back and let it happen initially. But I think they'll start out the year very differently, Alpine, of how they manage the drivers.
I mean, thinking about that, when we talk about kind of refusing to concede, obviously Checo has already said that, I won't be doing that again, and Max very much like, I made my case. How do you think the tension will be between those two? Obviously, they've brought Danny Rick in as development driver. He'll be in and around the paddock periodically. Do you think perhaps 2023 might be the end for Checo at Red Bull? I'm calling. The season hasn't even started. I'm looking to the end, but
it's a very
it's a
F1
question
thing to do,
to consider.
Yeah, who's going to win the championship in 2024?
It's a very good point.
If we're going by the conspiracy theory, it will be a UK Mercedes driver, so potentially George Russell.
So I think personally that conversations about Daniel Ricciardo were best had out of earshot to Sergio Perez this year, because there's no doubt that Daniel is there back at Red Bull hoping that there's an opportunity in 2024, and why not? Because if you were in his boat, you'd do exactly the same thing. But Checo has the seat at the moment, and it is up to him with his performances and his results to keep that seat, because I'm sure Red Bull won't really want to change drivers if they don't have to. But that still leaves an awful lot of opportunity for heartache or joy on either side to come. And it's F1, you never say never.
I mean, we have 23 races this year as well. It's an incredibly packed calendar.
But I don't want to see Sergio become subservient to Max. That's not what it should be about.
Well, he's an incredible driver in his own right. But of course, Max is reigning champion.
But it's a tricky one.
I mean, if he wants a contract, he's going to have to do what Red Bull say, to be fair, when it comes to it.